Hi, welcome to this video on using RSelenium to remotely control a web browser. So I'm opening up RStudio here, and we're going to open up a new scripting file, and we're going to download or install the RSelenium package. We're going to do that from CRAN. So here we are grabbing the RSelenium package and installing it. Okay, so now let's load that library. So we're going to use the library function to load the RSelenium package into this session. So it's loaded. Now we're going to check for and start a new RSelenium server. So we'll run these two lines. We're downloading another file we need when we run the check for server function from the RSelenium package, and then we go ahead and start the server. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to give the name REMDER to a new remote driver. Use the function new from the remote driver object, and we have our new remote driver. Then we're going to use the function open and run that, and now we're connecting to the remote server, and we're going to open up a web browser. So that this line here opened up our Firefox web browser, and we're going to put that here on part of the screen. And one thing I'll note right now is that you need a Firefox web browser on your machine to do this, and you also need Java. So put some comments in here with the websites where you can find those two programs. RSelenium will work with other browsers, it just takes a little bit of extra work. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use the function navigate. So again, refer to our remote driver, which is open in the background, which I should say is active in the background. This open function opens the browser. So now we're going to use the navigate function to go ahead and browse to a web page. And the web page we're going to browse to is Google Trends. So we put in quotes the web address for Google Trends. We know that in advance, and so we just type that in here. If you don't know it, you can search for it. So we hit run, and it puts it into the address bar, that address, and we're at Google Trends. Now we're going to want to do a few things before we take any additional steps on this page. We're going to want to first sign in to Google. So if you don't have a Gmail account, you're going to want to set one up. So Gmail. And now I'm signed in, and the other thing we're going to want to do from the open menu on your Firefox browser is set your options so that you save the files that you download from the web into a complete convenient place. So we're going to go to a convenient place here, and got that file now, that folder defined as the place where we're going to save downloads. So we close those options, and we're back to Google Trends. And now we want to go ahead and find our first object on this web page. So the place where you'd start with Google Trends is to type in a search word up here. So we want to tell RSelenium where this is, this box. So we do that by clicking here, right-clicking, and going to Inspect Element. This opens up a pane at the bottom of the browser, the inspector pane, where you can see the HTML code that was written to produce this box. So we notice that it starts with class equals ng-pristine. So we're going to go ahead and define, give it the name web element. We're going to use our remote driver and find that element, which is that Explore Topics box, which in the HTML code has this name, this class name, or at least it starts with ng-pristine. We'll leave off the rest of it. Turns out when you put these other two in here, ng-valid and ng-touched, you don't get to the right place. So you sometimes have to play around with this. There's a bit of trial and error involved. So we go ahead and run that line. Now there's no way to know that it worked until we try to send some keystrokes to that element that we have found, hopefully. Okay, so what we're going to do is the web element 1, we're going to go ahead and use the function send keys to element, and we're going to send a list of keystrokes. It's going to start with Twitter, and then it's going to finish with an enter, which should give us the time series, a plot of the time series of search volume for Twitter. So we go ahead and click run on that. It entered Twitter in here, or it typed Twitter in there, and then hit the enter key. So now we see the plot that we were hoping to see, which is the interest over time in Twitter. This is search volume on Google for the word Twitter. And now what we're going to do is we're going to want to come over to settings, and we'll click on that, and then we'll want to download as CSV the time series data here. So what we have to first do is tell RSelenium where this object is called settings. So again, to find that, we right click on the object on the web page and we inspect the element, and we go down here to the bottom and we find out in the HTML code what is the name of that element. And in the code what we see is that we're a little bit off. It's actually this one here. So trial and error, and you find that the second web element that we want to tell RSelenium to go find has ID, and it's equal to settings menu button. So that's right down here in the inspector pane. Okay, so we're going to hit run on that. Now we won't know what it's going to do until we click on it. So we can click on it using, so we refer to the element, and then we use the function called click element. So when we do that, we hit run, and we see that that didn't work because we didn't put the parentheses open and close. And there we go. So that worked. It clicked on settings, and now we get this drop down box. Now we want to come over here and right click and inspect the element to find in the HTML code where that download settings is. It turns out it's here. It's not actually this one, it's here. Let's just go to that again, inspect the element. So it appears that yep, so when you hover over it now, it just moved it to ID equals export MI. So that's what we're going to use as our third element that we want to identify on this page using RSelenium. So we run that, and then we're going to click on this. I have to run back through these steps again. So let's run back through all 4 of these lines. Clicked on it, and we should have seen the download happen here. So did we see the download? That may have happened too quickly, so let's try it again. So now that's actually open, and now we can run that. And I see this is perfect. So I made an error here. I didn't change the name to web element 3 because I found the third object and I needed to refer to that third object and then click on it. So let's do this again. Let's run all 4 of these lines. And it looks like it worked. And so what happened was we now get this open report.csv, and so this is a dialog box from Firefox, and what we want to do is hit save file, and we want to do this automatically from now on for files that look like this, so that when we wrap a loop around all of these lines, what we'll do is be able to just download these without this dialog box coming up every time. Okay, so we click OK on that, and we have our report. We look in our file system, and we can find out that, yes, indeed, we have our report, which is sitting right here. This is the Twitter data, weekly, downloaded from Google Trends. Okay, thank you very much.